Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Mornings in the Word with Bold Faith Church. I am Vina Henry, and we are on day 230 of our chronological reading of the Bible. Today we'll be reading from the book of Jeremiah, chapters 38 to 40. Then we'll move on to the book of Psalms, and we'll be reading chapter 70, Psalm 74 and 79. Um, Before we jump into the reading, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and also share because sharing is caring, right? Um, I also want to tell you about this retreat we have coming up in 2024. It's going to be amazing, an amazing time with wonderful speakers. It's going to be a time to be poured into, to meet the ladies that you see online face to face and form relationships. It is a very awesome time. You will not leave the same way you came. I promise you. This retreat happens in Greensboro, North Carolina. That is in July, I believe. I can't quite remember the dates in my head. Next time I come on here, I'll tell you. But you could go and get the details about this retreat on our site at boldfaithchurch.org. Get your tickets. You do not want to miss out. This is our third time doing this retreat. Every time it gets better. So if you wanted to come in the past and you haven't made it, this is a good time to make plans to come. We would love to have you, right? Let's get into the reading of the Bible. Now, Shephatiah, son of Matan, Gedaliah, son of Pashur, Jekal, son of Shemaliah, and Pashur, son of Malchijah, heard what Jeremiah had been telling the people. He had been saying, "This is what the Lord says. Everyone who stays in Jerusalem will die from war, famine, or disease, but those who surrender to the Babylonians will live. Their reward will be life. They will live. The Lord also says the city of Jerusalem will certainly be handed over to the army of the king of Babylon, who will capture it." So these officials went to the king and said, "Sir, this man must die. That kind of talk will undermine the morale of the few fighting men we have left, as well as that of all the people. This man is a traitor." King Zedekiah agreed. "All right," he said, "do as you like. I can't stop you." So the officials took Jeremiah from his cell and lowered him by ropes into an empty cistern in the prison yard. It belonged to Malchijah, a member of the royal family. There was no water in the cistern, but there was a thick layer of mud at the bottom, and Jeremiah sank down into it. But Ebed Melech, the Ethiopian, an important court official, heard that Jeremiah was in the cistern. At that time, the king was holding court at the Benjamin Gate. So Ebed Melech rushed from the palace to speak with him. "My lord the king," he said, "these men have done a very evil thing in putting Jeremiah the prophet into the cistern. He will soon die of hunger, for almost all the bread in the city is gone." So the king told Ebed Melech, "Take 30 of my men with you and pull Jeremiah out of the cistern before he dies." So Ebed Melech took the men with him and went to a room in the palace beneath the treasury, where he found some old rags and discarded clothing. He carried these to the cistern and lowered them to Jeremiah on a rope. Ebed Melech called down to Jeremiah, "Put these rags under your armpits to protect you from the ropes." Then, when Jeremiah was ready, they pulled him out. So Jeremiah was returned to the courtyard of the guard, the palace prison, where he remained. One day, King Zedekiah sent for Jeremiah and had him brought to the third entrance of the Lord's temple. "I want to ask you something," the king said, "and don't try to hide the truth." Jeremiah said, "If I tell you the truth, will you kill me? And if I give you advice, you won't listen to me anyway." So King Zedekiah secretly promised him, "As surely as the Lord, our Creator, lives, I will not kill you or hand you over to the men who want you dead." Then Jeremiah said to Zedekiah, "This is what the Lord, God of heaven's armies, the God of Israel, says: If you surrender to the Babylonian officers, you and your family will live, and the city will not be burnt down. But if you refuse to surrender, you will not escape. This city will be handed over to the Babylonians, and they will burn it to the ground. But I am afraid to surrender," the king said, "for the Babylonians may hand me over to the Judeans who have defected to them, and who knows what they will do to me." Jeremiah replied, "You won't be handed over to them if you choose to obey the Lord. Your life will be spared, and all will go well for you. But if you refuse to surrender, this is what the Lord has revealed to me. All the women left in your palace will be brought out and given to the officers of the Babylonian army. Then the women will taunt you, saying, 'What fine friends you have! They have betrayed and misled you. When your feet sank in the mud, they left you to your fate. All your wives and children will be led out to the Babylonians, and you will not escape. You will be seized by the king of Babylon, and this city will be burnt down.'" Then Zedekiah said to Jeremiah, "Don't tell anyone you told me this, or you will die. My officials may hear that I spoke to you, and they may say, 'Tell us what you and the king were talking about.' If you don't tell us, we will kill you. If this happens, tell them you begged me not to send you back to Jonathan's dungeon for fear you would die there." Sure enough, it wasn't long before the king's officials came to Jeremiah and asked him why the king had called for him. But Jeremiah followed the king's instructions, and they left without finding out the truth. No one had overheard the conversation between Jeremiah and the king, and Jeremiah remained a prisoner in the courtyard of the guard until the day Jerusalem was captured. In January of the ninth year of King Zedekiah's reign, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came with his entire army to besiege Jerusalem. 2.5 years later, on July 18th, in the 11th year of Zedekiah's reign, a section of the city's wall was broken down. All the officials of the Babylonian army came in and sat in triumph at the middle gate. Sharezer of Samgar and Nebo-Sarakim, a chief officer, and Negral-Sharezer, the king's advisor, and all the and all the other officers of the king of Babylon. When King Zedekiah of Judah and all the soldiers saw that the Babylonians had broken into the city, they fled. They waited for nightfall and then slipped through the gate between the two walls behind the king's garden and headed towards the Jordan Valley. But the Babylonian troops chased them and overtook Zedekiah on the plains of Jericho. They captured him and took him to King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, who was at Riblah in the land of Hamath. There the king of Babylon pronounced judgment upon Zedekiah. The king of Babylon made Zedekiah watch as he slaughtered his sons at Riblah. The king of Babylon also slaughtered all the nobles of Judah. Then he gouged out Zedekiah's eyes. He gouged out Zedekiah's eyes and bound him in chains to lead him away to Babylon. Meanwhile, the Babylonians buried Jerusalem, including the royal palace and the houses of the people. That made no sense, Vina. Meanwhile, the Babylonians burned Jerusalem, including the royal palace and the house of the people, and they tore down the walls of the city. Then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took as exiles to Babylon the rest of the people who remained in the city, those who had defected to him, and everyone else who remained. But Nebuzaradan allowed some of the poorest people to stay behind in the land of Judah, and he assigned them to care for the vineyards and fields. King Nebuchadnezzar had told Nebuzaradan, that name, the captain of the guard, to find Jeremiah. See that he isn't hurt, he said. Look after him well and give him everything he wants. So Nebuzaradan, the king, the captain of the guard, so Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, and chief officer, Negral Sharazar, the king's advisor, and the other officers of Babylon's king. I made I lost my way. Give me a quick second. They put him under the care of Gedaliah, son of Achim, and grandson of Saphat, who took him back to his home. So Jeremiah stayed in Judah among his own people. The Lord had given the following message to Jeremiah while he was still in prison. Say to Ebed Melech the Ethiopian, this is what the Lord of heaven's armies, the God of Israel, says. I will do this I will do to this city everything I have threatened. I will send disaster, not prosperity. You will see its destruction, but I will rescue you from those you fear so much. Because you trusted me, I will give you your life as a reward. I will rescue you and keep you safe. I, the Lord, has spoken. The Lord gave a message to Jeremiah after Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, had released him at Ramah. He had found Jeremiah bound in chains among all the other captives of Jerusalem and Judah who were being sent to exile in Babylon. The captain of the guard called for Jeremiah and said, the Lord your God has brought this disaster on this land, just as he said he would. For these people have sinned against the Lord and disobeyed him. This is why it happened. But I am going to take off your chains and let you go. If you want to come with me to Babylon, you are welcome. I will see that you are well cared for. But if you don't want to come, you may stay here. The whole land is before you. Go wherever you like. If you decide to stay, then return to Gedaliah, son of Achim, and grandson of Saphaniah. Then return to Gedaliah, son of Achim, and grandson. He had been appointed governor of Judah by the king of Babylon. Stay there with the people he rules, but it's up to you. Go wherever you would like. Then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, gave Jeremiah some food and money and let him go. So Jeremiah returns to Gedaliah, son of Achim, at Mizpah, and he lived in Judah with the few who still lived in the land. The leaders of the Judean military group in the courtyard heard that the king of Babylon had appointed Gedaliah, son of Achim, as governor over the poor people who were left behind in Judea, the men, women, and children who hadn't been exiled to Babylon. So they went to see Gedaliah at Mizpah. This included Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, Johanathan, and Jonathan, son of Kareah, Shariah, son of Tanhumeth, the sons of Ephi, and Netophathite, help the Lord, Jezaniah, son of the Maccathite, and all of these men. I am so sorry, all these names. Uh-uh. Gedaliah vowed to them that the Babylonians meant them no harm. Don't be afraid to serve them. Live in the land and serve the king of Babylon, and all will go well for you, he promised. As for me, I will stay at Mizpah to represent you before the Babylonians who come to meet with us. Settle in the towns you have taken and live off the land. Harvest the grapes and summer fruits and olives and store them away. When the Judeans in Moab, Ammon, and Edom, and the other nearby countries heard that the king of Babylon had left the few people in Judea and that Gedaliah was the governor, they began to return to Judah from the place to which they had fled. They stopped at Mizpah to meet with Gedaliah and then went into Judea countryside to gather a great harvest of grapes and other crops. Soon after this, Johanan, son of Kareah, and the other military leaders came to Gedaliah at Mizpah. They said to him, "Did you know that the Baalis king of Ammon has sent Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, to assassinate you?" But Gedaliah refused to believe them. Later, Jehonan had a private conference with Gedaliah and volunteered to kill Ishmael secretly. "Why should we let him come and murder you?" Johanan asked. "What will happen then to the Judeans who have returned? Why should the few of us who are still left be scattered and lost?" But Gedaliah said to Johanan, "I forbid you to do such a thing, for you are lying about Ishmael." Okay, let's go to Psalms 74. Okay. 74, a psalm of Asaph. O God, why have you rejected us so long? Why is your anger so intense against the sheep of your own pasture? Remember that we are the people you chose long ago, the tribe you redeemed as your own special possession. And remember Jerusalem, your home here on earth. Walk through the awful ruins of the city. See how the enemy has destroyed your sanctuary. There your enemies shouted their victorious battle cries. There they set up their battle standards. They swung their axes like woodcutters in a forest. With axes and picks, they smashed and carved paneling. They burned your sanctuary to the ground. They defiled the place that bears your name. Then they thought, let's destroy everything. So they burned down all the places where God was worshipped. We no longer see your miraculous signs. All the prophets are gone, and no one can tell us when it will end. How long, O God, will you allow your enemies to insult you? Will you let them dishonor your name forever? Why do you hold back your strong right hand? Unleash your powerful fist and destroy them. You, O God, are my King from ages past, bringing salvation to the earth. You split the sea by your strength and smashed the heads of the sea monsters. You crushed the head of Leviathan and let the desert animals eat him. You caused the springs and streams to gush forth, and you dried up rivers that never run dry. Both day and night belong to you. You made the starlight and the sun. You set the boundaries of the earth, and you made both summer and winter. See how these enemies insult you, Lord. A foolish nation has dishonored your name. Don't let these wild beasts destroy your turtle doves. Don't forget your suffering people forever. Remember your covenant promises, for the land is full of darkness and violence. Don't let the downtrodden be humiliated again. Instead, let the poor and needy praise your name. Arise, O God, and defend your cause. Remember how these fools insult you all day long. Don't overlook what your enemies have said, all their growing uproar. I guess the 70 years in exile can be long, can be long. Right here, we see that they're asking, how long is this going to go on? But then the other part of it, they're recognizing how powerful God is, right? All that He has made, all that He has done in the past, and that's what we have to do when the trial or the test seems never ending. Yes, we come before the Lord and tell Him, "This is hard. How long are you going to let me go through this?" But then remind ourselves how good God is, how powerful He is, the things that He's done in the past, the things that He's brought us through in the past, and know that His promises are true, that He will deliver. He will deliver. It will not be this way forever. Right? Psalm 79 is another psalm of Asaph. It says, "O God, pagan nations have conquered your land, your special possession. They have defiled your holy temple and made Jerusalem a heap of ruin. They have left the bodies of your servants as food for the birds of heaven. The flesh of your godly ones have become food for wild animals. Blood has flowed like water all around Jerusalem. No one is left to bury the dead. We are mocked by our neighbors, an object of scorn and derision to those around us. O Lord, how long will you be angry with us? Forever? How long will your jealousy burn like fire? Pour out your wrath on the nations that refuse to acknowledge you, on kingdoms that do not call upon your name. For they have devoured your people, Israel, making the land a desolate wilderness. Do not hold us guilty for the sins of our ancestors. Let your compassion quickly meet our needs, for we are on the brink of despair. Help us, O God of our salvation. Help us for the glory of your name. Save us and forgive us our sins for the honor of your name. Why should pagan nations be allowed to scoff, asking, where is their God? Show us your vengeance against the nations, for they have spilled the blood of your servants. Listen to the mourning of the prisoners. Demonstrate your great power by saving those condemned to die. O Lord, pay back our neighbors 7 times for the scorn they have hurled at you. Then we, your people, the sheep of your pasture, will thank you forever and ever, praising your greatness from generation to generation. Well, that is it for today's reading. We are here. Remember, we are here from Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. EST. Then we're here again on Saturday at 8 a.m. EST for a teaching by Pastor Courage Molina. We would love to have you there. Till next time, bye.